Welcome to another episode of the Cultivator Culture. Um, I'm Coach Austin. That's Coach Greg over there. And we, on a rainy Wednesday night, have the pleasure to welcome Zach Hubbard, Steinbrenner Warrior football alumni, now living up in Tallahassee. Zach Hubbs, welcome on the show. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having
Uh,
me. I was just telling y'all how much I miss you. Miss your face, miss your musk. Ran it Austin having breakfast with my mom. Had a
Hell
nice
yeah.
picture.
Yeah, how about that? We are sitting at a place called the Breakfast Station, which is
A
phenomenal, by the way.
train themed breakfast restaurant.
Excellent. And out of
Is
nowhere,
anything else scream Lutz more than a train themed breakfast
yeah,
book?
phenomenal. But
Well,
we
Lutz was actually founded because it was the Lutz Junction in downtown Lutz, and it's historic downtown Lutz. You see the skyscrapers, you see all those things. It's kind of off the little junction back in 1912 when they were running the railroads to Tampa. And that's all I know of Lutz history, so I'll shut up and let Coach Austin go back to it.
That's it. Well, we are sitting there having breakfast at this phenomenal little hole in the wall place. And I see that and a mountain of a man walking in with his mother. And I'm like, that I only one person lumbers into places like this. Um, and my wife's like, who is that? Who is that? Why are you looking over there? And I'm like, that's Zach Hubbard. I haven't seen him in years. We have to go over there and say hi to him. And she goes, why? Because he's looks like he's on a date with his mom. And I'm like, you see how tall he is? Everyone knows who Hubs is when he walks into somewhere. So we've got to say hi. So right and the last time we saw each other was probably years ago. But
Mhm.
pick up right where we left off, just like that. Same old Hubs, just now all grown up, which is even better, right?
Kind of
Ta
matured.
being a good boy, right? Now taking his mom out when he's in town. Living in Tallahassee now. Tell us what you're doing up there in Tallahassee, Hubs.
I mean, I was just thinking about we have our 10-year. We're not doing a reunion, I don't think, but we have our 10-year coming up. I've been gone for 10 years.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Crazy.
Wow.
I'm
2014?
old. You guys are old. Yeah, 2014.
Holy smokes.
You
You
want to
guys
feel old? You want to
same
feel old?
aged. What's up?
My sons are sophomore and freshman playing this year.
Shit. Sorry. But
They're like babies when you were in high school.
legitimate babies. That's wild.
Yeah.
So I work in the political atmosphere. I'm a lobbyist for a contract lobby firm up in Tallahassee. I've worked for a bunch of different elected officials, kind of ran the gambit, helped run political campaigns. It's taken me all over the country. I got to live in Montana for a year. That was super
Wow.
fun. But yeah, I've kind of done that. And by the probably sixth campaign, I was like, I'm tired of this. I'm gonna go work for the private side and try to make some money. So that's why I no longer serve the public or do anything nice. Now I'm just contract lobbyist.
John Q. Public, right?
Yeah,
Now,
government.
so here's Hubs went to Florida State, right?
Mhm.
After he left us at Steinbrenner in 2014. One of my favorite stories and memories of Hubs is he was our long snapper. And how tall are you, Hubs?
I'm 6'6".
Yeah,
Seven.
6'6". Imagine a 6'6" guy long snapping that doesn't really fit the bill. Um, just the tallest long snapper I've ever met, ever.
Well, and
But
my whole thing in high school, like I never met an excuse from the weight room that I didn't like. I hated practice, hated doing anything, but I loved being on that football team. I loved hanging out with the two people. I loved hanging out with my boys. I mean, we were talking about it before we got on. I have 13 groomsmen in my wedding coming up, and 8 of them I played high school football with.
That's
So
awesome, dude.
it just goes to show that those relationships carry, and I mean, even to this day, we'll get drunk, we'll come back from the bars or something like that, and we'll put on Jake Carroll high school football highlights. Just kind of watch that guy go off. But no, it's cool. I definitely was a guy that was more for the camaraderie than the actual football. And there's lots of, I mean, it worked out for me, so I'm okay with it.
No, there's a job and a role for everybody. We tell all of our players that, and some people have aspirations to play beyond high school, but some people just wanted to get to high school. But ultimately, if you're there for the team. If you're there for the right reasons, right? And you're the prime example, and that's one of the main reasons why we wanted you here, is because you yourself, Jake Carroll, Parker Skornchek, Nick Nankovich, Curtis Fitch, all those guys that graduated with you in 2014 are still friends, close enough friends that you're like, hey, be in my wedding. And that's phenomenal. Like that's we know, and this is one of those success stories for us when we look at what we've done over the body of our work in 16 seasons and 15 for Coach Greg. Um, that make us successful as coaches, not the district championships or the regional championships. It's like we get to hear the stories of you guys still hanging out, still chopping it up, still goofing around. Because I know between you and Parker, once the drinks get going, I'm sure it's probably
I've matured in my age. Parker's still a wild. Parker's still
yeah.
a rip.
I could have guessed that.
We all went down to the Dominican in I think early June, and it was me, Parker, Jake, Nick, few other friends, but I mean, Parker is just free and like he is the funniest person I've ever met in my entire life, and he does not try to be, but he is absolute glue guy. Just
You know,
life.
I heard a rumor, and I would like you to confirm it, that during high school, Parker Skornchek would shotgun beers before games.
About 6 and track meets. Not
Jeez.
only games but practices. That guy
What?
he still is, but like
That's no good. We do not condone that.
We do not condone that. It was just a rumor that I was trying to confirm. That is
yeah,
all.
yeah, Parker did that. Honestly, I even back then I would be like, why we're about to get our shit ran through the
Yeah.
ground. Why are you doing that?
I'll tell you what, I think he has two livers. That's why.
Yeah,
He,
yeah.
he's just trying to keep up with the pace of it. So, but you said you guys are still, doing life. You're getting married when?
So I just proposed 4th of July, but December
Yep.
2025.
Congratulations, dude.
Yeah,
I saw
congratulations,
all
my
the
man.
cool. I saw the cool pictures.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah.
And
Hey,
let's
Greg.
go. Let's go
Hey,
back
Greg.
for a second. What?
Sucker.
let's
Another
go
one
back for a
bites
second.
the dust.
We were talking, and you're like, oh, you didn't like the weight room. You weren't the fastest dude, strongest dude, but you did your craft excellent. Let's just say
Nice.
that. Like
Yeah.
you put a lot of work into being great at what you did,
Yep.
and that I think that shows a lot about who you are. You weren't the running back, the receiver, but you got that damn
Well,
ball back there
just
like
to
a
toot my own
champ.
horn, I was the only person in our class that got a college scholarship offer. D2, Concord University, middle of West Virginia. Never in a million years would I have gone there, but I got the offer, and Jake and Curtis didn't. So
Take
So
that, Curtis, bitch.
there you go, Curtis. But yeah, I tell you,
Bearcats.
you absolutely fit that role perfectly. Another role at the high school that still exists, that you were the founder of, you were the catalyst of, was the Gold Crew.
that still exists.
That's still there, and
Wow,
that is all
that's
you
pretty cool.
people who are
Do you know who the
listening
sponsor is?
now.
Coach Busquets.
It is
No,
Coach Spinar, formerly Miss Ennis.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
yeah.
Wow, good for
she's
her.
kept it going all these years.
Wow, we weren't even close in high school either. I think we had Coach Bosco was a sponsor. How's he doing?
He's doing great. He's
He's got
coaching
like
in
seven
Tennessee.
kids now.
Yeah,
Really?
he's
Yeah,
got a whole army,
yeah.
whole redheaded army.
You know how they do it up there in Tennessee.
Yeah, Coach Bosco's just adorable, just downright adorable. I miss him.
But yeah, that for those who are listening, this is the actual founder of the Gold Crew. For those who are listening that are at Steinbrenner, because we have some of the students and players that are listening, it's a cool group. They still do the same stuff that you guys did back then. They
He's a
still
roller
pack,
coaster.
and they pack the stands
That's awesome. That's so
on a
cool.
Friday night.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that is a, like I said, that's a legacy, that you've left behind for the high school. So
Yeah, well, we were just starting. I mean, we were a brand new high school, and we would go to other places, and they would have like a rich history because we're playing. I mean, we make fun of what we did, but we were playing the highest level of Florida football, and we didn't. We were a brand new school, so we had no legacy, and we'd go up against these schools that have been there for 50
yeah,
years. So we had to do something to combat it, and that was just kind of our thing. And um, I think everyone played a huge role in that. It was just super fun always. And then we honestly did it. We really tore it up at the volleyball games because back then
yeah,
I was
That's
like
still a
one of our
thing.
sports.
yeah. That is
That
still a
tradition still
thing.
goes.
You guys decided to get good at football after we left.
Well, how did the Gold Crew start? Like, who thought of it, and how did you go? Like, hey, I think we should make this an actual thing.
We played Jesuit in something. I think it was in basketball. And we saw their blue tide, and I completely stole it from them. Completely 100% stole it from them. I tried to come up with something clever, and all I could come up with was the Gold Crew. So
Yeah.
that's it.
No, that's perfect because
Yeah.
right, it's success isn't reinventing the wheel. It's just copying people who are successful to
And making
tweaking
it,
it for
yeah.
tweaking
That's
it
how
to
that's
fit
how I
you.
managed to stay successful in my career. Just chat GBT. Don't cut that.
I love it. You know, that ChatGPT is unreal.
Greatest thing ever.
Yeah,
It
greatest
really
And
thing.
the worst thing.
as a teacher, it's probably like the best and the worst thing to ever happen to you, Pusky.
So it's awesome. But the good thing for us is now there's some brilliant students we have that they could get away with anything they wanted if they wanted to because their technology level is incredible. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of kids who they'll use certain things and it's like, oh, this has still the boxes around it. Copy and paste. Good job. Oh man. But
That's
no, we've talked about it on a couple episodes, but we've a lot of the teachers are starting to incorporate chat GPT and AI into lessons
it should.
because
You
it's
should.
here
You teach them
and
tools that
embrace
they
it.
use the rest of their life. I mean,
Yeah.
I never have a call or anything where it's like, do you use ChatGPT? No, of course. Use the best tools in your armory to
Yeah.
get the job.
And
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 GPT is
you
a tool, then let them use it.
use it to fine tune things and make things better.
So, I mean,
I
there's going to be whole courses on just like how to use AI to the best of your ability, how to use ChatGPT and engines like that, so you're better at using it. Because saying make this sentence for me, or saying it 10 different ways, there's always a better way to say it, and that's going to be part of lesson plans moving forward, I think.
and here's the coolest thing. So my wife is way further ahead of times than me
Yeah,
on stuff like this. So, but I created
smarter,
this.
more talented, all those
Oh,
things.
it's better than everything. Coach Graham back in the day used to say I outkicked my punt coverage. But so I created this awesome review of my class, like survey the class so I could get feedback from all the students. It's a new course, college level, Ace Marine class. And all the kids gave me these papers back. Some of them loved the class, some of them hated it, some of them thought I was amazing, some thought I sucked. It's good. It's good feedback. You learn where you did well, where you need to improve. So my wife, of course, she's like, "Hey, let me use the survey that you did." I'm like, "Okay, whatever." I'm gonna make it digital. So she ends up making it digital where all the kids go into a Google Doc. She puts all that information into Chat GPT and says, "Please review what my students said about me and talk to me about what I need to improve on." And it gave her like a 3-page summary on the type of teacher she is, the students think it was incredible. And it's like,
Wow.
these are the areas that students think you could improve. So maybe try this. And it's giving her like details on where she should go next. It was really awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, just going back on your wife, I mean, I think that's how every relationship should work. Your wife or your fiance should always be that much better than you at doing that one thing. It's like, why didn't I?
And then you're like,
Blow it up. But she lets me know that she's better than me, and as whatever. Besides the point.
Well, tell us that story. Tell us about the lucky lady. Tell us about how you met. Tell
Yeah.
us about the pictures that we saw about your engagement. Tell us
is
about
she
that whole
camera
thing.
ready where we can say hi?
No, she's
Yeah,
not. I wasn't talking to her.
Uh,
She
talking
was
to the
not.
dog.
he was talking
Yeah.
to Jake back there.
But so she, like most people, I'm an acquired taste. You guys know that. For the first 2 years of us knowing each other, she hated me, hated my guts. Would not. It was like this guy. He walks around like a over.
You just kind of wear people down.
And I just
Yeah.
I asked her on a date once a month, probably for 2 years, and I finally got her to go with me. And from that day on, we just been inseparable. She's really cool. She works for the governor currently. She went to Plant City High School, and I always tell her family the story of we were playing Plant City High School, and I don't remember the guy's name, but he was an Alabama commit, and he was a left tackle, and he was 6 foot
Oh.
6. Not my kind of 6'6", not the lengthy 6'6", and he looked like he was 6 foot. He was 320 pounds and just a beast. And I remember Montel McBride, maybe something like
That
Yeah.
sounds right. I know
Yeah.
that name.
But he let out a roar before the game, and I think our whole team shit our pants. We were the I don't know if I can. We were a waspy. Sorry, my dog's barking. We
No,
were
you're
a
good.
we were a waspy school, and we hadn't seen a man. That was a man that we were going up against, and I tell that story all the time because it was just different. Like Plant City, 30 minutes outside Tampa, Lutz, 30 minutes outside Tampa, but worlds apart.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was, do you remember in that season? That was your senior year. That was
Mhm.
24. That was when we went down to them, right?
Yeah,
At
yeah,
Plant City.
that was a
And
long,
You know
miserable.
what?
and
Was that the game that got like we only played a few? It ended up in a tie because it was rained out.
the Lightning,
I thought we won that game. Maybe I'm wrong.
Lightning. It was we won
Or
it because they had
there's
to
seven
shut the
six or
game
something.
down. They
And,
they were
and
like
Austin, you might remember this. I think Coach Perez gave the bus driver money to go to like Fred's Kitchen and pick
Freddy's
up a bunch
to
of
to
fried
Freddy's
chicken
or Fred's
breasts.
or whatever. Yeah, I do remember that. That's what I was saying. I think that's the game. If I remember correctly, we are not supposed to win that game, but
Mm-mm.
we win that game because they have to shut it down because of lightning.
We weren't supposed to
And
win our senior year, but I think that's the one of the few that we got.
yeah, but again, I think it was because they also cut the game short. Because remember, they had a quarterback also that had transferred from Armwood or something like that. That was a stud quarterback as well too. That they gotten back on the field, they might have put some points on the board, but the Lightning shut our game down. But Coach Perez that same game gave our bus driver money to buy fried chicken at Fred's, which is apparently a phenomenal southern like home cooking type of place down there.
I don't imagine Coach Perez bought it for us. It's probably more for the coaches. But one of the funniest Coach Perez stories I have is a year after, probably 2 years after we all graduated. We weren't 21, but we were over 18. We graduated from high school, and we were all back for Thanksgiving break. And you guys were actually good. You were in the playoffs, and everyone after the game went to Panini's. And
Mm.
y'all are sitting at one table, all the coaches, and then we're sitting at one table, and you guys or somebody gets a pitcher of beer, and then we get a pitcher of beer, and Coach Perez is like, "What the hell are you guys doing? How are you ordering this?" So he actually played a joke where he knew he played it where he knew one of the waiters or something like that, and said, "Hey, go ask them for their IDs," and it scared the ever living shit out of us. How was Coach Dre doing?
He's amazing, dude.
Another year, more gray hairs than you remember.
He had gray hair when I was there too, and he was like 35.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you what, he coaching, I don't envy him, but I'm very grateful for him because I also understand why Coach Graham was the way he was too, especially having to start with a new school, new program. Man, there's a lot of stuff that you have to do. Like when you walk into programs that have, a history, like Plant High School when I was at Lakeland, there's not a lot to do. You just fall into the system where um man, Coach Perez has established everything that's going on now. He's really dug all those footers and set all the concrete. So now, it's just we're enjoying the fruits of our labor now, but when you were there, it was a rough go because that was 2011 when you guys started, right? 2012? No,
2010,
11. Oh
2010.
yeah. Yeah.
So
So you guys,
I was talking about with Husky the other day actually, and we're talking about how they have like Nike uniforms now, rubber track, turf field. We had bobs. We had bobs.
So so Coach Perez has always had this awesome vision for the program since he took over, and it was he wanted to get a turf field in, he wanted to get a jumbotron in, and he wanted to get a field house in. And we're 2/3 of the way there. We're still
yeah.
working on the field
That's
house, but
where is that? Where do we stand on all that?
we're still early stages trying to get approved and trying
Planning.
to raise some money and
How much are the naming rights to the stadium? I feel like that's what you got to sell.
can't do it. The county won't let
Ah,
you.
it's a
No
county
naming.
thing.
How do all the other schools have it?
The county does that when
Yeah.
there's I don't know the system, but the county has to go through all that.
I love
I
that you
think it's
get.
like naming I think it's like naming high schools. You know what I mean? Like, so when Coach Garcia is done over at Hillsborough, they're going to name something at the school,
They have to, right?
football related after him. 50 years later, you owe a guy at least that. But it all has to be everything's got to be approved by the county. I mean, you're a politics guy. There's all the red tape that you have to go through to get through stuff to get one thing approved, right? But
If government worked correctly, I'd be out of a job. So
that's awesome. Well, and now you're in the private sector anyways, right? What's the big difference between working public and private sector aside from the money?
I wasn't going to say money, but the public sector, you usually have one person that or movement that you're really championing, whether it be an elected official, a party, or something like that. You have one thing that you focus on. Nowadays, I mean, I wake up in the morning and I know a general consensus of what I'm going to do that day, but I don't really know for sure, and I don't really even know the issues I'm going to be focusing on. So you kind of go from being an inch or a mile deep and an inch wide to the opposite once you go to practice. You got to kind of be the jack of all trades.
So nonstop adaptation and
Yeah.
trying to you get a lot of things that just come at you and you're not ready for them.
When I first started, yeah, you
I
get
shouldn't say not ready for it, but
it's fake.
like oh okay, we're doing this today.
and I don't think anyone's ever fully ready for it. You shouldn't be comfortable with your job, because once you're comfortable with your job, you become complacent and you're not way. So I think that you should take on things that you don't think you're ready for. I think that you should strive for something harder than what you're currently doing always.
Do you see yourself doing this particular job as a career, or do you think this is a stepping stone to something bigger?
Yeah, I always thought I was going to run for office, but I don't think that's in my card. It's probably more in my fiance's cards than it's in my cards at this point. So I'm gonna be just the arm candy.
That's it. The first man.
Yeah, gentlemen.
The first gentleman. That's it. The first gentleman.
We might get one of those soon, actually.
That is hilarious.
Could
And you know
happen.
what? It could. Who knows? But at the same time, I heard from a Homeland Security guy that, and confirm this as well too.
Awesome.
No. That, and again, I'm ignorant in politics, but where the money is made is not in the salaries; it's actually in the campaign donations. Because
So I think that, I mean, there's probably 3 or 4 different like worlds of politics that you can work in. There's state level, or not state level, but there's public sector where you work for the government. You're a government employee. You can be a chief of staff to an elected official. You can do all these different things. Then there's the campaign side, and that people do that their entire life and do really well with it. That's the side I really love. It's more of a knife fight. It's you build up all for this one thing, and on election day you're either really happy or really sad. And then what I do is I'm on the lobby side, so I'm pretty much the like an entity's liaison to government is how I describe that.
Yeah. Well, I heard, like I said, that's what the guy said on the campaign side. say this guy who keeps running and keeps losing, you're like, why the hell does this guy keep running? But imagine he raises 10 million, let's say, for his election campaign, and he uses 5 million of it, and he loses. He still keeps the other 5 million,
So he
right?
doesn't keep it personally. He keeps it in like what they call a political action committee. So he can't use it for
Oh,
like
okay.
a house or a car. I mean, if he did, it would be illegal. I mean, people have done that and gone to jail. But
Yeah.
he does have oversight over that so that he can then put it into a cause that he cares about or an elected official that he cares about and kind of use it
Okay.
as political capital.
Okay, yeah, that's what he's saying. And so and because it's donation, it's non-taxable, correct?
Donations are taxable.
Oh, they are taxable. So if it goes to that political action committee, is it count as revenue for the year?
For the political action committee, yes. Yes,
Okay.
they hold that money until they spend that money. It's a weird. I'm
Well,
not
how
an
the
expert in finance, but it's
yeah.
and every state has different laws, every jurisdiction has different laws. So there's whole job titles that are just people that are expert on campaign finance laws.
That's craziness. I heard that and thought, "Oh my gosh, like why would you not want to like because they also obviously get paid as, part of the campaign, even though you're trying to be the elected official, he's getting paid as his job to do that role, right?
It shouldn't be, but I'm sure it happens somewhere.
Like kickbacks and so on and so forth. I mean,
We're
it is
walking
what
a
it is.
fine line here, Coach Austin.
Oh, listen, I am super ignorant, but I know, and
It would be illegal for the person to pay themselves out of their own campaign account.
okay, but
They can hire on a campaign manager, they can hire on
right,
fundraisers, hire on these people, but they can't hire themselves on. Or they're
but
not supposed
can the political action committee pay them like as a salary? I mean, say he does a job in a role, they give him a title. Hey, you do this. I'm just saying.
I
I
think
don't know anything.
I think there is probably a world where I haven't seen it done, to be honest, full transparency. I have not seen it done where somebody paid themselves, but I don't know the specific laws on how it worked, but it would definitely be a negative on a
Oh,
mailer.
Little
But
bit.
oh, gotcha.
this
Oh,
guy
gotcha.
is running to be your senator and he paid himself out of your own campaign donations. Like it's not,
It's a
Well,
bad look.
tell
yeah.
me also this, and this is another thing I heard that if you serve in
You need
office
to stop
at
hearing things and you
no, no,
need to
no.
do some
I'm just trying to.
research.
I just. I'm trying to get confirmation from the horse's mouth. So, if you serve as a congressman or as a senator, even for one term, you have congressional pension, right? That's correct, right?
So I don't know if it's one term, but you do have to serve a little bit, and and the state of Florida works a little bit different. So the state of Florida, you serve 10 years as a state employee, and you're in the pension program. It's a little bit different though, because our state representatives and state senators they make like it's a part time job, so they make like twenty six
Yeah,
thousand, and
yeah.
they get paid based off of that. So it's not crazy, but at the federal level, you're set. Once you're a congressman, you're set. Once you're a senator, you're set. You're
Oh,
gonna live.
that's awesome. And is it true that Governor DeSantis he came out and said, and again, this is all I don't know, and I'm ignorant to it, that he said he's not going to take his congressional pension?
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's
Yeah,
super
dude, that's and this is a guy who cracks necks and backs for a living, coaches high school football. I don't know much, but I was like,
and cashing checks.
that's it, snapping necks and cashing checks. But I thought that was an incredibly noble thing, right? That he wasn't going to take his congressional pension. I was like, that's
And
pretty neat.
Governor DeSantis, he's like a more of a military guy, but our previous governor, even before him, Rick Scott, donates back his salary that he gets from being senator or that he gets from being
Whoa,
governor. Yeah, so that's pretty cool too. But both of
nice.
those, we've been blessed in Florida to have two pretty kick ass back to back governors.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. Again, we weren't trying to make this political at all. Again, we have our fact checker is Coach Perez, and he can confirm that we are like 90% wrong on everything we say. Like the whole Plant City game thing, that's gonna come back to bite us.
Honestly,
Um,
I thought this game was played at home. I thought we won by a lot. I don't remember rain, but I was going.
We don't. Neither do we. That's what I'm saying. All the games at this point in time.
What year are we talking about?
It'd be 2013, probably. Yeah,
13?
Yeah, it was 13 or 14. One of those two.
I got this.
Actually,
he's,
look at this.
he's gonna Google it. So now we don't look like such idiots, but we've already done it. It's recorded. We're gonna look like idiots anyways. Tell us of your group, Hubs. Who's the first one that got married? Was it Jake?
Of course. There's not even a question. That guy,
that's
that
true.
guy loves like no other. His wife, Ellis, is truly one of my best friends. But
I remember Ellis.
they were
Yeah, me
always,
too.
they were always going to get married. I mean, they're incredible together. I love it. I was just me and Mary Claire, my fiance, just stayed at their house all weekend in Tampa.
Oh wow. What are they doing? What is good old Jake doing nowadays?
He likes to call me a scumbag but he sells reverse mortgages. He does something.
Reverse mortgages.
He works in he does something. It's kind of an ongoing joke. We'll be like, Jake, what do you do? And then he'll start talking, and then we all just kind of look away and like start talking about something else. But I gave him the best man speech, and going back to Parker, I started it with Parker, we're all here because we love and care about you very much, and we just want to see you. And I was like, oh shit, sorry, that speech is actually next week, Parker. Sorry about that.
the intervention speech. Hold on a second, guys. Go ahead. I gotta help Michelle for something. Hold on.
So 2014, the year after you graduated, we tied 7-7 in the rain out
at Plant City.
Yeah, we had them at home in 2013.
We won, right?
We did not win.
We did not.
We lost 25-10.
I've been talking shit to my fiance this whole time.
And I'm back.
Yeah, we lost 25-10 that year.
Ugh.
We did.
Hold on a second. I'm trying
were
to make sure.
Were we at least away?
Jake Carroll senior year.
2013.
2013, we lost 25-10 at home. And I can even tell you the stats because I keep great stats.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hold on. Let's see. This. Hold on. It's loading. It's loading.
Curtis Fitch 3 for 7. 30.
Listen,
7 picks.
Another story we had. Remember that? Oh, another episode. We were laughing because we were like, remember that time Curtis Fitch threw 7 picks and Coach Perez was like, "You guys are idiots."
That never happened.
He threw 4, and then he got benched, and then I think it was Logan LePace threw 3. The bad part is all but one guy. This guy literally got a college scholarship off of one game.
Logan LePace. He was like a professional paintballer, wasn't he?
What?
And then he turned into a DJ or something?
No, his
brother. Oh, his brother? Okay. Offensive stats. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Quinn Podorowski played in that game.
Oh,
Curtis Fitch.
You got the wrong year.
Do I?
Yeah, you got to go 2013.
This is 2013. Hold on.
Curtis never.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. You have a chance. 12-13. There we go. Did we play? It's gonna be so funny if we didn't play Plant City. We did not play Plant City that year.
We are idiots.
Hold on. We might go back one more. We go back to 11-12. This could be the year.
We're just making games.
I think we went 7-3 this year. That year.
No, we did go 7-3 that year.
Yeah,
but no Plant City there either. I don't think you ever played Plant City.
That was way too vivid a memory. That was.
Maybe it was it might have been preseason or like the classic.
I gotta text Curtis. Didn't we play Plants? Curtis would know.
That is great, guys. What a great episode so far. I love it. This is the fake news episode. But hey, listen, but we're loving it. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying chewing the fat with you. You know, I miss you. I miss you, Hubs.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, what I love about you guys is y'all still talk to me. You guys still, I want to help. I want to do whatever I can, but I got my own life up here, and the only reason I still have anything to do with Steinbrenner football is because of the two of you, and I truly am thankful. I Coach Puskis texts me asking me for money all the time. I'm always down to give it. It's not much.
He's the best, man. I'm like, hey, help us out with flag football, bro. Like, so no, you've been awesome, man. You guys have always come back to the games, and we appreciate you, dude.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys. You guys were big for me growing up, showing that you can be serious and also have a good time. And I think you are a much needed part of that team because Coach Perez is a serious guy,
Yeah,
and you guys
You
bring.
you would not believe though. He's lightened up a lot his
he has.
older age.
Is it the
He
kids?
And he's just
Yeah,
and he's just become. I mean, he came in as a young coach who wanted to prove something, and over time he's a brilliant guy with the game, and I think he's become a better coach each year, and he's
What
always going to different events trying to find different coaches to learn from, and he's always just fine tuning things, and I mean it's a testament to him that our staff has stayed together for so long,
it's a
and
one thing I love about him is I can't remember what I was doing, but I was just being a jackass in a class. I was being a jerk, and he kind of just like he didn't like he metaphorically just kind of like slapped me in the face and told me, "You're not that. Why are you being an asshole? Don't like that. Like be the guy that people love. Like be the good personality that you have. Don't be the jerk." And I was like,
yeah.
man, that was a different kind of ass kicking that I've got. That's pretty
sorry,
good.
Dad.
I can't wait to use that on my kids one day.
Hubs,
I
speaking
get-
of ass kickings, remember when you came out and played rugby in high school?
I have the best rugby stat line of all time. I have 2 games. I have a red card
Which
and
which a red card means you get kicked out of the game.
kicked out, and then we appealed my red card so that I could travel down to Miami the next week. Appeal went through. Coach Austin was my lawyer. Everything worked out. I drive down to Miami by myself, or I can't remember who I was with. I drove down to Miami and I break my hand first quarter of the game. I don't even know rugby quarters or halves.
Halves.
First half of the game, tried to play, and I was like, I'm not the kind of guy that plays through an injury. I like my air conditioning. I like the comfort. Broken hand. I still have a pretty gnarly scar. I don't know if you can see it,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
drove and I was like, Coach Austin, I love you. I'm never playing rugby again.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't think I've
That's
touched a
it.
rugby ball since that day. I think it was pretty
I,
gnarly.
I love it because it was the first wave of football guys that decided to come out and play. It was like Dietz, it was Brad Atkinson, it was Stephen Walters. Remember Stephen Walters? And
Stephen Walters, yep.
yep, and it was Hubs. I still have a picture of you, Hubs, after one of the scores, and your arms are up like this, and you've got the ball in your hand, and you're like, and it's the funniest shot because the celebrating in rugby is completely different than the celebrating in football. But whenever we scored, these guys celebrated like they scored in football,
Yeah,
and
it's like
it was hype. It was they played no style of game. They just bowled over other kids, and they just did they just did whatever they were going to do. It was the best time for me as a coach to watch our football guys just not be in a structure and just go
yeah.
have fun.
So Curtis did confirm that we played Plant City our senior year, so I'm not going crazy at home.
What?
It had to be preseason or something then, because I'm looking at the schedule and they're not on our schedule.
Our preseason game.
Hmm?
I think we played Sun Lake High School in our preseason game.
That's the one that Dietz did his ACL.
So you were 2013, right? Senior year?
Broke the collarbone in that game too. Yeah.
Jake did.
Yeah.
Do you remember that story, Husky? Was it the one where he was wearing a different
Yeah.
number and he was wearing number 2 and he's like, no, I don't want to wear that.
And we
number.
thought 2 was cursed because
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
when
because
when Jake broke his collarbone, Coach Austin diagnosed it as a sprained ankle.
yeah, it's
that
classic.
sounds about right.
It's
That
about right.
sounds
That's
about
that's just
right.
how we do it. You know what I'm saying? But he did. I remember he did not want to wear number 2,
He
and
refused. He refused.
and also number 2. Remember who wore number 2 also was Case and Bird. Case and Bird, who later on also was injured in number 2. But
Yeah.
the curse, I don't think it's a cursed jersey because then Dion Silas wore it and wore the crap out of it. So
was the
Pretty good career for him.
hey,
yeah,
you graduated in 2013 or 14?
It's the spring of 14.
Yeah, so Plant City, we played at home and lost 25-10.
I'm so glad she's not here listening.
so we did play them or we didn't.
We
We
did.
did.
Okay, so then our fried chicken story was from another year.
That was the
Clearly.
next year.
Okay, and that was also the lightning. Like I'm not going crazy, am I? Like that was also a lightning that shortened the game, and then the fried chicken happened, right?
It's up tie that year. We went through that when you were helping Michelle with something.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, no, it's wild. After so many years, all the games kind of blend together, and then you get to see your old players like you, and you forget that the last time you played was 10 years ago.
I don't know how you guys keep it straight though, like who played with who, that sort of thing. Like that's crazy to me that because I mean,
Because you guys
Well,
got to remember, we spend so much dang time with you guys. Like we're with you guys more than our families,
yeah,
and it truly. I mean, think of it almost like fraternity life or your college life with your buddies. You guys hang out more than you see your family, right? So that's your family. So
Yeah.
like legitimately, the Warrior football team is our family away from our family. So you guys like we care about your academics. We care about what you're doing in life and making good decisions. And because you guys are like kids to us, like away
yeah.
from our family, you guys are who we care about. And your relationships matter to us and all that stuff. So,
you guys are like second parents. I mean, you guys got on us. You had good times with us, but at the end of the day, like we needed someone to keep us on the straight and narrow because I mean, our parents didn't see us, but for probably 3 hours of the day when we got home from football practice.
Yeah. Well, and also that's what we still follow up with for Coach Greg and I. We follow up with a lot of our old players because it's it doesn't end once you graduate, and that's why whenever we see players, and I've seen a lot of other players, more obscure players that didn't play or that didn't start, like for instance Nick Green. Remember Nick Green?
Nick
I saw him.
Green, I remember he tried to swim move somebody with a ball.
Yeah. Listen, I saw him at church once, and he looked at me and looked past me like I didn't know who he was, and I stopped him, and I'm like, "Hey, Nick, like, how are things going? What's going on?" And he is like, he was like shocked that I actually remembered him. But although the games are all mixed up and the years of the scores, we remember who you guys are, and particular things like the swim move as a running back and the broken hand. I remember the broken hand from rugby for you because you definitely did not try to play through it. You're
No.
like, I'm
And the
done.
worst part was we were already down a man because we didn't have enough show up. So we were down 2 men once I got
Yeah,
injured.
that was
You're like, "Go, you
Riviera.
guys
Remember that
got
was
it."
Riviera Beach,
It was
Riviera
really
Beach,
funny.
and we played with 12, and we still won. It was
Yeah.
it was 15 because in rugby it's 15 on 15. We
I
only
wasn't
had
up
13
the
show up.
outcome of the game, honestly, at that point. I knew my
Yeah.
rugby career was over.
Which is, what, I appreciate you for showing up and showing out because it's like I said, it's just watching you guys in a different space. And it's fun to watch you guys as athletes compared to other kids in other sports. There's a very clear difference between football guys and other sport people in other sports because of what you guys have to do together. You could
Yeah.
see how tight you guys were, just the group that were football guys, right? Compared to the guys that were rugby guys. So yeah, I appreciate you, Hubs. It was a good time, even though it was a very short time. But likewise,
So
it's
Chris did confirm he was injured that game. It's the only high school football game he ever missed.
See, there's no stats for him. Quentin Podorowski went 2 for 7 for 1 yard passing and ran 3 times for 1 yard passing and ran 3 times for negative 15 yards.
What was Jake's stat?
Jay Carroll was also injured that game.
Oh,
Yeah.
Shaheem Barthel had 5 carries for 3 yards. How did we score? Cody Burgess had 3 carries for -8 yards. Kezio 9 carries for 8 yards. Brandon McKnight 4 carries for 12 yards. Shannon Norder,
Brandon
or not
McKnight.
Shannon. Norder had 10 for 15. So we listen. This is crazy as hell.
Kezio definitely returned a kick.
I don't think there's a worse stat line in a high school game ever. Are you ready for this? And this might be the Montel McBride effect. We ran the ball 34 times for 15 yards, and we completed 2 of 7 passes for 1 yard, and we only lost 25-10.
That's
Terrible.
I had to have lost the stats for that game or something. That doesn't.
How did we even score?
I don't know.
How did we even score?
I'm gonna go try and see if I can find score.
Wait, I actually I lied. I did do a little bit of preparation. I watched a Christian Carrier video for like the first 5 minutes just to kind of like right before this to see what you guys talk about. You guys opened talking about the Floyd Graham offense, the Delaware wing tee and the razor. I love the razor. I mean, I thought it was incredible. I literally made varsity because of the razor as a freshman. I was 6'3", 150 pounds, and I was this thick, but I could snap the ball both ways. And
nice.
Tyler Hampton couldn't. And then they brought me up just to like show that like it can be done. But then they put me up against somebody. I don't know who it was, and I just got bulldozed right away. And they're like, all right, well, I guess we'll keep the guy that can't snap over this.
Yeah, thanks, Hubs. Go back to JV.
Yeah.
Listen, funny favorite story. Speaking of JV versus varsity, Jake didn't play JV. You remember? Do you remember his very first game, Pusky?
Newsome touchdown return?
No.
No, that was spring.
Jesuit.
Jesuit touchdown, kickoff return for a touchdown.
Kickoff return for a touchdown.
Yeah.
And funny you bring that up because in the Plant City game, we scored on a 85-yard punt return touchdown, Kezio Snelling.
Yeah.
I forgot Kezio was like the best returner in the country that year.
He's incredible. He was lights out.
He's like Montel Jordan or running down the field, and then he was Steve Urkel the next. Remember Urkel? Like he had the Urkel look, and then he was Stephon when he was returning kicks.
Yeah, he had probably the biggest glow up during high school. I mean, from probably sophomore to junior year, it was like, who is this guy? What?
And Bosco called that because like I had him. I'll never forget Kezio. I love Kezio to death, but frustrating as heck when he was in your class because he's always like, ooh, squirrel. So he would I was like, man, this kid's driving me nuts. And Bosco's like, he's gonna be a stud. Just we gotta work with him. I'm like, come on.
He was right.
Then turn into a incredible athlete.
Yeah, complete stuff.
Listen, that's who else do you keep in touch with, Hubs, from your class, aside from your close-knit group of guys?
It's really those guys. I mean, it's Brad. We have a group chat that gets talked in every day. We have an Instagram group that gets messages sent in every day.
Oh wow.
We keep in touch like no other. And then I talk to Puskus all the time.
Yeah.
Brad Atkinson was notorious because he was like a 48-year-old balding man as a high school senior. and he would get like 18 tackles a game. Just the hard way. How's his hairline these days?
Non-existent. I mean, he's going now. He just.
My man.
Is he in Tampa also?
Yeah, he lives in North Tampa. Fiance as well. He's loving it up there. He's got a really cool setup up there.
We got to get you all back for opening kickoff this year.
Brad is. This is gonna sound funny, but this is true. He is an environmental scientist. He is legitimately an environmental scientist. So he went to FAU and didn't like it, and then he went to Florida State and majored in environmental science. He's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I kind of like this, and he ended up making a career out of it, and he loves it.
I'm having him in for the Great American Teach-In this year.
Oh, really?
I got it. I have to now.
This is Brad Atkinson, 1980 graduate.
Well, I'm doing marine science now, but like half of our curriculum is like environmental science stuff.
No way.
So,
I was gonna say,
awesome.
I say you don't want me in here.
No, you can come too. That'll be fun.
How often do you come back to Tampa, Hubs?
All the time. once a
Do you?
week. I'm there.
Holy cow, that often?
I mean, when you're doing what I do, and you got to be in Tallahassee for a lot of the year, but when you're not, you're traveling.
Mm,
You're going to Tampa. I mean, that's civilization.
yeah.
Tallahassee is not so much. It's
Well,
if I
do you take the veterans all the way? Is the veterans all the way
oh,
up there yet?
yeah, no, it's not all the way up, but 19 is a quick way.
Yeah.
And I usually try to like put it on like bookends of trips too. So like I'll fly in and out of Tampa and do that sort of thing just because Tampa Airport goes to a lot more places than Tallahassee does.
Yeah.
Tallahassee is like, where do you want to go through? But you got to start. It's only
Start on
by
the Oregon Trail. We should have that whole group come back, and we should do a
Yeah.
7x7 with all of them.
Yeah. But you know what? We wouldn't recognize half of them
yeah,
because they look like full grown men. Aside from Parker, I look at the pictures that I've seen. Parker looks exactly the same.
you
You know
know.
what I mean?
But the funniest thing in the world is we all lost a bet to our other friend who he didn't go to Steinbrenner, but he was a buddy of ours. We all lost a bet, and we had to get his name tattooed on our butt, and we all got it. But Parker decided to get Parker and Brad actually got Lutz, and then the kid's name. So they got Lutz like this big on their right ass cheek, and then like a little trademark symbol, the kid's name, because the kid's name is RJ, and so they Lutz this big on their ass.
Is that a real story?
So it's we had a bet. Whoever hits a hole in one in our friend group, everyone else that was with him has to get the name tattooed on the butt. This guy is the worst golfer in our friend group, and somehow hit a hole in one, so we all had to do it. But I was skinnier when I got it, so my ass is stretched a little bit and smeared. Now I got BJ on my butt. It's
That's phenomenal.
conversation stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hey, you want to see my ass? Check this out.
Check this out.
My friends look way worse. Don't worry, my friends look way worse.
Hey, that's amazing. Did you play sports when you went up to Florida State? Did you do anything aside from school and hang out with the boys? Did you try
I
to
was
carry on a career?
I was in a fraternity. I worked 3 jobs. I tried to walk on the football team, but
Yeah.
that would even be a disgrace to like the people that actually played because I think I went to like I got to like one workout and they were like, yeah, you'll be the 4th string long snapper, but we also want you to run scout team defensive end. I'm like, fuck that. Sorry. Like, I'm not with that. It was
You're looking
good.
at the offensive line. Like, no,
It
we're
was
good.
good. Just won the
Wow.
national championship. I was like, no chance, man.
Yeah, that's hilarious. What fraternity did you join?
I was a Kappa Sig. Me and Parker were actually fraternity brothers and pledge brothers together.
Oh
Um, I,
wow.
I loved my college lifestyle, but the true friendships I have were the high school. Like I have some good friends from my college days, but the ones I talk to every day are the high school boys.
Oh wow. And how much do you think that the Forged by Fire, playing football made a difference between the Forged by Fire out partying in the streets of Tallahassee made a difference?
You gotta have some difficulty in your life. Like you gotta at least like I, I don't remember who said it, but it was you got to be chased by a dog at least a few times in your life. You got to have some adversity go on.
Yeah.
And without the summer Lutz Florida workouts, I mean, that's some adversity. And then you get kicked in the face a few times in your professional world too. I remember my first one of my first jobs was running or not running, but helping out with like the data and the polling and a big uh political campaign, a Senate race, and I was just so outside of like I was not qualified to be in the room that I was in, and I shit the bed, completely shit the bed, and I'm
Mm,
getting called out by people who have been doing this for 30 years or at the top of their craft, and I called my dad and I was like, I gotta come home. I shit the bed, and he was like, all right, well, come home and be a quitter, and then I was like, thought on it, and I was like, I'm gonna be great. I'm gonna go figure this out. And by the end of the campaign, like it was like battlefield promotion, battlefield promotion, battlefield promotion. And I just worked my way up, and uh, that was probably the seminal moment in my career where it was like I overcame some shit to get to this point. and that's kind of what I leverage to get higher up in the political world.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a great story. It's one of those things, right? All the things that you had to endure on the football field as a teenager, those lessons have come back full circle in a professional setting
Yeah,
and going into a personal setting because you are getting married in a year and change, right? It's the same with both of us, with Coach Greg and myself. You're going to walk into something that you think you know a whole lot about, because the happily ever after happens, and the battle just begins. And if you do the same things that you did here in Lutz, and then you do the same things that you did in your professional life, dude, marriage is going to be a success as well too. But it's definitely going to be a battle, right?
yeah, and it's the teammate thing too. I mean, when we're hiring, we look at, were they a team sport athlete as a kid? Were they in the military? Did they do these things that they can work well with others? And honestly, I think it's what you should look for in a spouse is how do they look at marriage? How do they look at partnerships? Do they look at it as more of like all right, well, this is an agreement, or is it a union? Is it a real thing? Is it marriage? Like, are you one or are you two? And if the answer is are you one, then that's the right person. If the answer is we're kind of like we're together, we do our own, we raise kids together, but we have our own lives too. That's not a marriage. And I think part of it is I was brought up in team's a team.
Yeah.
You're either all in or you're all out.
Yeah, I'm with you. Okay, perfect segue for Coach Greg and I. You can go first, Coach Greg. Um, Marriage advice. What is one thing that you would tell Hubs after what 15, 16, 17 years now that you guys have
Oof.
been married?
I don't know how long I've been married.
There
17 years.
you
17
go.
years.
I was right. I was right. What one thing could you tell Hubs walking into a brand new marriage to always keep in his back pocket?
I touched on it a little bit recently. Um, but you wake up in the morning with the person you love and you'll find a way to get through the day. Just, everything is doable. You just have to be able to give and take. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, don't get stuck on your pride and find ways to just work together. And Coach Austin said it 100 times. Throughout my life that I've known him, it's that you have to be there for someone when they need you to lift them up, and you need to have somebody who's willing to be there for you to lift you up. So we've talked about that before, and I don't think there's a better way to say it than that.
Yeah. You ready? I'm gonna polish it up for it. It's relationships are never equal, right? As much as we want them to be 50-50, they're a partnership. But just like a team, everybody has a job and everybody has a role. And your job, like you at Steinbrenner, you were just the long snapper, or you were the long snapper of the team. So those who could not long snap, you filled that role. But those who could throw the football and catch it, you could not do that. They filled that role.
Played offensive
So
line too, guys. I
I
have to
agree.
cover myself here a little bit.
but in your marriage that's upcoming, you both have different gifts. You have different strengths. And the worst thing that you could do is put your ego in front of that person's gifts. Meaning, when you are weak at something, as men, we want to be solution finders. We want to be fixers. And sometimes our ego does not allow our wife and her strengths to fill the gap that we are hitting our heads on trying to find the solution for. So relationships are never equal. Everybody has a job and a role. Do your job. Know your role, do your job, let her do hers. Allow your ego to take a back seat, and the team will always keep on moving forward. That's mine.
Yeah, I mean that's awesome. It's humility is probably the best virtue that you can have, and ego gets in the way often. And if it's probably the one killer sin, I think the word would be. to any marriage, to anything. It's pride, it's ego, and it's
Yeah.
in a simpler terms, it's counting points in a marriage. Like I did this, I did this, I did this.
Yeah.
She deserves. She's got to do this, and it's the same in a team. Like it's
Yeah.
Curtis Fitch needs to. If he has a bad game, somebody on defense needs to pick him up, and vice versa. It's not always going to
Yeah,
be.
Curtis, we threw 7 interceptions.
7.
Take that, Perez.
That clip got sent around our group chat so many times when you guys said he was 7
Hilarious.
How pissed was Curtis?
He's like, he's just going, what the hell, guys? I didn't throw 7.
He loves it.
Got up to like he coaches for Cincinnati right now. It made the rounds in that coach. Like it made the rounds, guys. Like it was everywhere.
We did correct
Phenomenal.
ourselves in the next week.
Yeah,
in
phenomenal.
small writing, just like a politician would do.
Well, listen,
Actually,
ready?
everything we said was wrong. But
Was wrong, but here we are. All right, ready, Hubs? It's your turn. Before we end the show, we always have.
oh,
our
before
guest.
you do this, before you
Okay,
do this,
go ahead.
let us just say we were not taking away from you being an offensive lineman, but we are special teams coordinators, so the long
Correct.
snapper is very important to us.
It's one of the most important roles for
My
us.
son is one of our long snappers right now. He's terrible at it, but
He's terrible.
he's getting better. He's getting better.
I hope so.
I want to come down there and meet him. I'll do a practice day with him. I still got it.
Dude,
Do you really?
need it? Come on up.
I snap when we get a little tipsy and we got a football in our hand.
What?
So
everyone is throwing and catching. Everyone is running, and Hubs is like, "Hey, check this out! Check this out! Hold on."
through somebody's chest. It's okay, guys. It's okay. I know
I
Governor
got it.
DeSantis.
All right, ready? Ready?
Wait, real quick.
Wait. So you.
Okay, go ahead.
We always have our guest, especially because you were an alumni of a football program when you left with that was still in its infancy. Tell some of the guys, give us a nugget of information for guys who are walking into a program that's already developed, that's already tasted some success. How do you stay successful? How do you get successful for those who are just brand new to the journey?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's everything we talked about. It's have faith in the guy next to you. It's you gotta struggle. You gotta have hard times because I think that I'm gonna butcher this quote so hard, but it's like hard times create strong men create good times create weak men create bad times, and it's just kind of that cycle. You have to struggle, you have to go through shit, and when you go through shit with that guy next to you, that only strengthens your bond. And when you have that bond and you've gone through the bad stuff, and it's kind of like pledging a fraternity almost, is like high school football, like off season, like you go through bad times so you have the good time, you redeem the rewards afterwards. And the rewards in high school is winning, and it's building a culture. And Steinbrenner has been lucky enough to have some continuity of leadership there, and I think that y'all have done a great job with it. I think that Steinbrenner is probably an example, because you kind of see, like, I still read like the high school news and all that stuff, and it's like Strawberry Crest has its 7th coach in 3 years, or Sickles is like there's no continuity there. There's no culture. How do people probably transfer out like crazy? I mean, it's important, and it's rare what Steinbrenner has. So I think that's what I would tell the kids. I mean, it's have faith in your teammate and eat some shit.
Listen, we appreciate your time. We appreciate you. It's always a hoot to just sit and chat with you. We have to do it again when you're back in Tampa, because the season is starting next Monday.
Wow.
Yeah, we're
Crazy,
back
right?
at it. You gotta pop out on a Friday night, because not only to see what the house that you guys built the foundation for, but also to be able to chat with some of the young guys, and just to see the difference and what you guys had to go through it, and share some of the stuff that we're sharing now to help them push through what they think is hard nowadays. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
We'll definitely make it out for at least one game. But
Good.
thank you guys. This is super cool what you guys do. I think it's even if it's like little clips to the team, and they kind of see what the guys have gone through it, what it looks like on the other side. I think that's just super important. So thank you guys for whatever you do, and anything I can do to help Steinbrenner, I always will, or anything you guys need. If you ever need a passport expedited, I got you.
Oh, I actually might need that soon.
Good shout.
Well, listen, we love you and we're proud of you. We're proud of everything you're doing. We can't wait to see you again. Best luck. Hey, listen, the two
And,
things that we
hey,
gave you, remember them.
we would be honored to come to your wedding and speak for just 2 minutes and let your fiance know that we lost that game and may have had the worst offensive performance in history. Watch out with Brad.
We're just gonna wedding crash it. We're just gonna crash it. That's all we're gonna do. Listen, hey, we love you. We're proud of you. Thank you so much for your time, Coach Greggy. Miss you, love you. And
Love
on
you,
that,
bud.
we are out. See
Peace,
you,
Hubs.
boys. Cheers.